Hey, how's it
Hey,
going?
good to hear your voice. It's been a long time since I've talked to you, except in your chat.
Yeah, I've been super busy.
Oh man, I can't. I was looking at the bug list, and I was amazing how many bugs, let alone features, you added. So that's awesome.
It was a busy 2 weeks, yeah.
Are you getting some sleep?
Uh,
A
yeah,
little bit.
sure. Uh, every few days, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So what I was saying
So,
is that the
yeah,
AC,
but the
yeah,
AC/DC
yeah,
utility,
yeah.
yeah. So that is when you're a single generator and you have the flaps out. It will not. It basically kills all the cabin utilities because the airplane thinks that, oh my God, you're a single generator and flaps out. That means you're about to put like hydraulics loads on and you're about to land the airplane in an emergency or something like that. So it basically kills everything after the cockpit to
So
like conserve power.
we had flaps down. We
It probably
didn't
extended them,
even
yeah.
because the only thing it was a fresh new airframe. I don't recall cycling the flaps at all. It was a brand fresh new airframe. The only thing that I did a
Hmm.
little bit differently is that both AC and DC were summoned. But we didn't do
Um,
anything with the
th-
flaps unless I did it on accident.
that shouldn't in itself cause anything, but hard to be sure when you've kind of
Okay.
gotten yourselves out of it.
Yeah. I
Anyway, right, about your screen woes, quick explanation for also anybody who's listening in. So there the two, if you look down on the pedestal, there are two panels right on top of each other. Well, a little bit on sort of on top of each other. There's a small one with a bunch of with two knobs and a big one with two knobs. And the big one has like more buttons on it. And so just so you know what I'm talking about, the top one we call the display control panel and the DCP, and the bottom one we call the cursor control panel, the CCP. And roughly what they mean, the DCP controls your primary flight display, CCP controls your multifunction display. So whenever you're basically pushing stuff on the DCP, you're mostly manipulating the PFD, CCP mostly the MFD.
okay.
So if you want to toggle either basically the screens have each of them have you effectively have like three areas where you can manipulate stuff or where you can change the display of stuff. You always have to have the attitude display on the primary flight display, right? That kind of makes sense. You always want to
Mm-hmm.
like be able to tell which way's up.
Mm.
um, on the bottom, you can change it between rows display and PPOS, or the map, like the line, right? You fly,
Mm-hmm.
and you change that by using the DCP's format button. So there's an FRMT. That's a quick access button. You can also change it through the menu, but there's a quick access shortcut button on there that says FRMT. If you mash that, it'll toggle between rows and PPOS display.
Okay.
And it's very much the same kind of deal on the CCP and the multifunction display. If you just mash, there's a lower format, and if you just mash that, it'll go from PPOS to plan to TCAS back to PPOS. And you can so that's sort of for the lower half. There's also a lower menu button right above that that like lets you select more options for the lower half of the screen. You can put on like geopolitical lines, or you can put on like extra airport information, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And for the top half, there's an upper menu button. On the left, MFD is currently locked out because you have the engine indications locked in there, so you cannot override those. So they're always there. Um, you can move those over to a different screen, but as long as they're locked on the multifunction display, you can't change that. But on the first officer's side, you can actually change what's displayed on there. If you go like to upper menu on the right CCP, the first officer can go ahead and play around with their displays, and they can set any kind of info on there that they want. So they can bring up like system synoptics, summary info, um, even charts and that kind of stuff. So the avionics has a lot of flexibility. It's so much flexibility that people that are used to like fixed layouts on like a 737 or an Airbus are going to be a little bit overwhelmed. But you can put a truckload of information on these.
Mm. Okay. I think I understand a little bit better now. Um.
Yeah, the
Okay.
only the only annoying part is that the buttons to control the displays are so far away from them. It's natural when you're in the actual aircraft because it's right by your knee, and you just mash on the buttons while looking at the screens. But obviously in a simulator, it's a little bit more complicated than that. You can, if you click on any of the, well, you figured it out. You can click on any of the screws for the DCP or CCP, like the fastener screws around them, and it'll pop up a 2D display, so you can basically take this CCP or DCP up close to the display and mess around with it there.
Yeah. So that, yeah, I really like that.
It's not just the display. You can even pop out the individual panels.
Oh, so for the okay, so
You click on one of the fasteners there on the display control
oh,
panel
the
or the
screws.
cursor control.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So there's the DCP screen, and then here's the CCP, and this is for the pilot side, and they can do the same for the other side. Okay, very
Yep.
cool. Very cool. Any
Like I said, there's a ton of information you can bring up there. It's mostly a matter of like figuring out what it all can do, but it can do a lot.
Okay. Oh, awesome. All right. Well, I have a question. So if I do a lot of customization of both the CCP and the DCP, and then I do a save state right now, is it going to go right back to
Uh-huh.
that same one?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Well, as long as you're flying career mode or you're flying, because in non-persistent mode we do not save anything. For if you want to have like persistence, you want to be running that career mode, and then it'll auto save everything, and you can also create custom save states and that kind of stuff.
Mm,
An additional thing is this is in the actual real avionics. Once you're comfortable with a particular screen layout, a pair of upper and lower displays or any kind of overlays, that kind of stuff,
uh-huh.
and you want to be able to recall them fast,
Yep.
there are memory functions on the CCP. If you hold down for more than 3 seconds, one of the mem buttons on there, it'll memorize the current screen layout for the MFD, and then when you push it just briefly, it'll recall the function or recall the layout.
Oh
So you
yeah,
can
I
have
see
like
that. 1, 2, 3 mem. Yeah.
yeah, so you can quickly memorize like I want to have like mem1 will be my navigation line and mem2 will be my plan mode and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's handy. Now, Tylenol, do you do save states in the non-persistent mode or no? You don't.
I haven't yet. I mean,
Okay,
I
so
will
so
eventually, but
Totoritko, you're saying you can't do save states in the non-persistent, non-career mode?
Yeah, that's kind of the idea of non-persistence, and that there's nothing persistent. So yeah,
Okay.
it's a throwaway airframe.
Okay.
It's not. We've kind of mulled over whether we're going to even cut it from the release, because
No,
it's
no, no, no.
people
Give us
people.
options.
Well, no, no, no. The idea is people think that it's some sort of a easy mode. It really isn't. It's really just more of a mode of I just want to jump in the airplane, throw it around the sky, and forget about it.
Mm.
Um, Career mode really is what gives you all the options of having like not just like courier or tracking of an airframe. It lets you do things like I want to have a state for engines running. I want to have a state for passengers have boarded. I want to have a state for I'm going to go 4,000 miles, so fuel tanks full, that kind of stuff. You can do
Mm.
all of that in there without having to like keep track, without having to like wait for stuff to happen.
Mm.
The non-persistent mode was it was more sort of meant to like shut up the people that would just complain that it's not there. I should have made
Well,
the button like teeny tiny and put it into the corner or something so people so many people don't find it.
yeah. I think I run both modes. Tylenol runs the non-career mode, and he's into FS economy. He just wants to get up and going. But to me, maybe
Sure.
Tylenol, the save states would help you be able to jump in and do an FS economy flight. You could have it, everything running
oh yeah,
at a
it
particular.
would for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think for me though, I don't know, when I'm done, sometimes I land, I just exit the sim, and
Y-
so
And you don't,
I
yeah, you
just
don't want it to be in the same state that you left it. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
I
But
I
you could do a
honestly,
just new airframe, I guess, every time
oh
too.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
If it's gone, it's gone. It's not gonna, whatever.
I
You
like
also
having the choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
You also don't have the ability to like paint on a custom reg mark on the airplane, that kind of stuff in non-persistent mode, which career mode does give you. You can like customize the way your logo looks or the reg mark looks on the airplane, that kind of stuff.
Mm.
We've essentially gone like if you know the reg mark editor from the TBM, this thing's about 10 times more sophisticated in what it can do.
Wow.
Did you show him the livery, John Fly?
Oh yeah. This is a really good livery.
I imagine people have had fun with it already. Yeah, Snack Air, obviously.
Yeah, November 7, Delta X-ray with the persistent mode. Oh, Emperor Kamadas, thank you for the raid. Appreciate that.
But you're in career mode
I'm in
or in
career
non.
mode, yeah, because I've got a custom tail number that's the
Gotcha.
airframe. Yeah.
Did you Did you take out your gear pins
I
before takeoff?
did. I did take
Good
them
one.
out.
Good boy.
Yeah, and I learned how to. I followed your. I didn't. I know the little pop up started, but the email blast that went out that had the YouTube videos. I went through those. So it was very good.
Yeah, we were trying to really hard to make it like idiot proof so that nobody has an excuse that they didn't know because
Yeah.
it's right there in your face.
Yeah. Um, I seemed like I had a question on that. Oh, I had a problem where you've seen probably the issue before where X-Plane suddenly starts scrolling to the left or the right, and it just keeps going. You take your hands off the keyboard and everything, and it's just scrolling. Have you ever seen that from?
If it might happen if
It hap-
somehow
uh,
the key press that like initiated the moving or the movement to the side or something like that, the key up event got swallowed by either a window, for instance, like you were over
yeah,
like a
yeah,
like Avatar with the mouse or something, and
yeah.
that swallowed the key up event. So we never saw you lifting your finger off the key there.
Okay.
Easiest solution is just tap the key again, and that'll for sure
Whatever
terminate
key
the
that
movement.
was, though, I guess.
To just tap or just tap them all, just
Yeah.
briefly. It won't make a difference.
Tap everything on the keyboard. You mean?
Well, WASD,
Oh,
the movement command,
WASD. I'll have to try that
or
because in this case, I was walking out of the cockpit down the staircase using the WASD, but I was also using a right click and hold and scrolling my view around, and then all of a sudden, boom, it got locked into that state. So I'll
yeah,
try that hitting
interesting.
WAS or D, and then
Yeah,
believe it or not, I
just
didn't.
the direction you're
Yeah,
moving.
I didn't know about X. I didn't know about crouch down, but in the YouTube video, I saw you crouch down to get a better view at the gear pin, and I'm like, guys, I've never crouched in X plane. What is it? Oh, it's X. Oh, thank you.
Well, it's a thing that I added because it's WASD really doesn't exist in X-Plane. Unfortunately, the default key bindings of X-Plane are kind of boomer, and that they're kind of all over the place and not really conforming to the way essentially every first-person game has done movements since, I don't know, 1998 or something like that. It's kind of WASD has kind of become the standard. So, and of course, Austin never knew. So he kind of devised his own crazy combos.
Yeah. Okay.
That's gotten baked into the defaults in X-Plane,
So
unfortunately.
that was good to learn that, and I like that immersion of the gear pins, and I feel bad for the real world Challenger pilots that have to go and do all of that stuff.
Well, imagine
probably
having
have
to do it like.
Go ahead.
Just imagine having to do it in like 30 below zero.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You don't even want to be outside. How much of will the ground crew do?
Yeah, that's one of those. I remember one of our consultants. He flies up in fairly northern areas, and he frequently runs across people, or he frequently has that kind of weather to deal with. So ground crew, he comes into the FBO office, and they're like, guys, you're okay to see yourselves off the ramp this time, right? I won't have to stand outside and marshal you away.
Yeah, you're okay to stay right there. I have yet to do the hand signals on here. That's a nice option too. I bypass those land times.
Sure, yeah, the hand signals are actually there to kind of help you, especially for the engine start, because when you do that, it's not just a pretty little animation. The ground crew actually do check whether the airplane is correctly configured. So they'll check whether you got the door closed, the gear pins out, and all the probe covers off.
How are you doing today?
Yeah.
So again, it's another helper. If you forgot to do something and you do a hand signal to start the engines, he's going to actually give you a thumbs down. If you're listening on the service center phone, he's actually going to tell you, hey, you've still got the gear pins in, or you still got the door open, or that kind of stuff.
Yeah, today I learned the hand signals to remove the chocks. That was something that I had never seen before. The movement. Yeah, remove the chocks.
Thumbs out.
Yeah, thumbs out. Yeah. We got a couple subscribes. We got Captain Tony Stark, 38 months. Thank you, Captain Tony Stark. When will it end? Exactly. Thank you for the great streams. I appreciate you being here. Also, Cajun Cacti. We do have an expert on the stream here today. Totoritko. It's been a long time since I've been able to have him on the stream. It's a pleasure. He's been a very, very busy man. N87UP says, is shared cockpit on the radar for this plane? I heard it was being worked on. Was it the FlyJSim side or the other provider?
It's not currently being worked on, but I will start working on it. I'm still sort of in the sort of initial throes of release support. And yeah, it's going to be shared flight. It's no longer FlyJ Sim officially because JSnap kind of left FlyJ Sim, so he took that brand with him.
Okay.
But it is going to be JSnap's shared flight, and we do have him on the beta team, so we're going to be working pretty closely to get it to work essentially flawlessly, or
Okay.
as flawlessly as you can with network anyway.
Yeah, well, I have been fortunate to do shared cockpit with JSnap in all the other predecessors. So he certainly is a man who knows of the issues, and he loves to test and all that. That's great that he's involved in that. I didn't know he had separated that, but we're a fan of Justin and hope that that all goes well, because I have at least a half a dozen guys on here that I want to fly this plane with. So.
Oh yeah, and this is really where we kind of you've seen the automated first officer there, right? Who gives you who does the checklist for you and configures the airplane in flight. The automated FO was kind of an afterthought. Initially, I always had wanted to have shared flight right from the start, and the reason being is the Challenger is a fairly workload intensive aircraft. So if you
Mm,
just try and do something like a go around all by yourself, it
mm,
is a very high workload thing. You have manual flight, manual thrust. You have to configure the airplane. You have to change nav sources. It just goes to hell in a handbasket real quick if you just try and do it all on your own.
talking
So
on the
the Challenger,
radio and.
that and coordinating, yeah, with ATC and just making sure that you don't run into cumulus granitus and that kind of stuff. So
Mm.
it just gets very much of a handful. And so a challenge, sometimes we get people asking on Discord, is a Challenger single pilot certified? No, 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 very much no.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. That'll be fun. Even Tylenol, you'll do shared cockpit with me, won't you?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
good. He loves this plane.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure our consultant guys and real world pilot guys that are in the beta team and in the support team, those are gonna love flying with people because they're all kind of teachers and they love sharing their knowledge. So I'm sure there'll be taking quite a few people, up into the virtual airways with the Challenger intro flight.
Yeah, that's exciting. I hope. Looking forward to that. All right, cool. I can't think of
Cool.
anything right now, but have you seen the fuel guy interaction when the door is left closed yet? No, I haven't.
That's version one. Wow, you're running new version, hey?
Oh, you know what? I think I need to add a little bit more fuel. Can I re-add fuel after I've added it once? I guess I can.
Sure, you can. Just call Jenny to send the truck out again.
Let's see. And that brings up a good point. Believe it or not, I have never heard Jenny on my sim. Any ideas?
I think you've got volumes turned down all the way, don't you?
I've got I can hear X-plane right now. I can hear the plane. I can hear the
Okay,
wind.
can you show me what your volume is set in X-plane, like in the default thing?
Oh, in the default, yeah. So if I go up to, I am using the B2 volume control. So I got master. I don't know if you can see it in the corner. I got master all the way up.
I can, and I think you got UI there turned down all the way to nothing, which is
So is she
probably one of
UI?
those. I think she's either UI or radio or something like that,
Okay.
and it might be very, very, very dim.
I'm gonna turn all of them up. I've got interior a little bit lower, but that's been on before, and I've never heard her. So let's do.
Okay,
Of course.
Oh,
I'll
I
have
hear
that over
her.
with you in a minute or
Now
two.
we need to establish
Anything
which
else?
one it is. So I'm gonna turn UI down. Let's see. If I want to, yeah, I'll request an air start unit. Does she talk to me with the air start unit or no?
yeah.
Okay. It is UI. Because we didn't hear her at all.
Yep. So
Always
it's.
a pleasure.
There we
I
go.
forgot exactly how I routed the thing in the mixer. So
Well, I don't know how many people have run into that, but yeah, there we go. I've been wondering for weeks because everyone's like, does Jenny not like John Fly or something? She won't
Maybe
talk to him.
maybe we can get B2 to update that menu to Jenny instead of UI.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea.
yeah, sure.
he did incorporate. I don't know if you've seen this or not, but he did incorporate haze control, so I can I can change the fog level via that
Right.
UI now. Because to me, X-Plane always has had too much fog, so I can determine the level of haze,
Sure.
which is kind of nice.
So if you want to hear the fun one, you'll want to make sure that you've got audio turned up so you can hear stuff, and close the door on the cabin while the fueler is coming, or especially if he's here and he's trying to get in the jet.
Okay, so right now he's coming up here. If I close the door, you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. Just go ahead and close the door, and he'll eventually you'll see that he's going to try and hook up. Just click on one of the side rails.
Oh, one of the side rails. Do I need to lock it, or can I just leave it in this?
I think this is enough. So yeah, and you can actually see where the fueler is at, or what the status of the ground services is, how they're sort of progressing. If you click on up in Challenger 650 ground services, shows service status. There's going to be a little pop
Hooking
or
up.
overlay on the top right. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So he's hooking up to the jet right now. You should have a hose up there already.
John Fly is finally talking to Jenny. I know. I've been waiting my whole life to talk to Jenny.
Okay. So now he's walking up to the airplane. Picking up his little clipboard and that kind of stuff to like get all your information down and stuff.
7 seconds. 6. He's knocking on the door.
Yeah, just
Are you
wait.
there?
He's gonna get more persuasive.
What's the password? It is getting louder, isn't it? Oh, that's funny. Oh, wow. I don't know if I have the volume up on the stream well enough. It's probably the interior volume. Oh, man, that is... I know you're in there. Oh, wow, he is... FBI? Wow. What's the inspiration for the name Jenny, by the way?
It's literally the name of the text-to-speech system, the voice in the text-to-speech system I've used to generate her.
Okay.
So it's the Microsoft TTS thing, and the voice is named Jenny. So I thought, like, that's a good name. Sure, why not? Yeah, so just go ahead and push a little bit on the door forward and just let go, and it'll fall down. And the fueler will not hold a grudge.
FBI.
FBI, open up.
Captain, fuel truck is hooked up. Just let me know how much fuel you need. Or would you like to go tanks full today?
All right, I need to top up here. So, Tylenol, do you remember what my total weight was that we needed? Was it 9,000 something?
Yeah, 9,000 something.
Okay. So
We
we're at,
added 740 gallons is what we added.
we're at 8750 now.
So if you want 9,000 gallons.
I want
what's
no.
this?
I want
12 pounds.
9,366 pounds.
Okay, yeah. So sorry. Yeah. So the thing is, first of all, you're not an airline pilot, so you don't have to worry about matching the minimum fuel exactly. Your airline's not gonna, beat you up over the head if
It's
you go.
FS economy that will
L-
screw up though.
Oh,
If I don't
okay,
match
yeah.
what the plane is rented at right now,
Yeah, we got a unique situation because he's
Yeah.
he's at an airport where
there's no
he's
fuel
got-
available,
There's no fuel,
and it's
so we need to
13.
go out at an
Yeah.
exact gallon.
Yep. So I'm
Okay, yeah.
gonna take 93. Let's see, 9366 minus 8750. That's 616 in weight, and if I divide that by 6.792, I think is
Yep.
what. 90. So I need 90 more gallons. So if I go up here and I switch that to 90.
But we
Boom.
can roll your mouse wheel on that little selector.
Oh,
up
you
there
can
as
roll?
well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so it's not. I mean, a lot of the time I'll be at an FS Economy airport where I will have fuel available, and I'll try to get as close to the fuel that I actually need for the trip. But in this case, it's a unique scenario. But that's a pretty
Gotcha.
common question around my Discord and other FS Economy worlds is, what is the best way to do the fueling situation? And by the way, congratulations for having your plane added to FS Economy. That is actually a big deal.
Oh wow.
That is a huge
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, could be. One of those things is you got to realize is those fuel meters that you see on displays there, they're not magical. They're not super accurate. So, don't consider the number shown on there to be gospel. It is not 100% on point. The fuel computer has to do quite a lot of, let's call it reading the tea leaves to be able to figure out how much is in there, and it doesn't quite get it right every time. So it is pretty normal during, for example, takeoff, just because of the fuel sloshing and like various probes get submerged differently, to see like an increase in the fuel on board by like 300 or 400 pounds. And as I'm not talking about just the sim, I'm talking in the actual airplane. The meters will jump around.
And you've simulated that.
Yes, of course.
Oh, see, guys, that's the level.
The fuel computer is recreated to insane levels of detail. The fuel computer, much like the rest of the avionics, does not have any what they call secret knowledge, so it doesn't know the exact value that's in the tank. Rather, it just basically sees its simulated probes, and the probes have noise and garble in them. And so the fuel computer then has to like variously filter and process that and then correlate that to in an internal table to what it thinks should be the fuel value. But plus or minus 4 or 5% on that on those fuel meters is perfectly acceptable. So if let's say if it showed 9,000 pounds, but you actually have 9,300 or 9,200, that is a perfectly acceptable and normal thing to see. Because you never know exactly how much is in those tanks.
Fortunately, the FS Economy does have a fudge factor also in play for the fuel burn, and we were aliasing the Challenger 300 on FSE before this came available, and we did have a little bit of fudge factor, so that was good. But yeah, Wake's Fate says he loved the way you said, of course, that's of course. Now explain to me, just you don't have to go into the long drawn out story, but why are you simulating satellites for the sat phone?
For the sat phone, that's that's more of the consequence that we're simulating the entire Iridium constellation for satellite data link, which is what's providing the sat phone. The idea is that if you somehow happen to be in a piece of coverage where Iridium is not available, and Inmarsat isn't available, you wouldn't have satellite data link.
So if you're at a particular portion of, say, Antarctica or whatever, you may not have your signal.
For Iridium, it would actually be the equator.
Okay.
Iridium is a polar constellation of something like 40 satellites, and they are all in low Earth orbits, and they are most far apart near the equator, and they all converge and cross over each other near the poles. So the best coverage, Iridium was originally designed to provide data and phone coverage in very, very remote areas. So think Antarctica or Arctic Circle, that kind of stuff. Whereas Inmarsat, which is the other data link constellation, we got the airplane here kitted out. We've got 2 data link options, which normally it doesn't really happen on Challengers because it's expensive as all hell. But we sprang for all the options we could get our hands on, so to speak. So yeah, you basically got the options list from Bombardier, and you just went yes, yes, yes on everything. We got a wealthy owner, but the idea is Inmarsat is a geostationary. You got to lock the door, by the way. You push the locking handle down, yeah, but you also got to operate the
red thing.
Yeah, the T handle they call it. Then now it says green locked on the little indicator there. That means it's all good to go.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think you might be able to see there's a little flap there or a
Yeah.
little flag there next to it that says locked. Anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, so Inmarsat is faster, but it is geostationary, which means the satellites are at the equator. So if you're near the poles, up above about 80 degrees latitude, Inmarsat is really no good. It doesn't really receive anything.
Mm.
It's just effectively you're almost level with the horizon. And as soon as there's any little hill or the airplane needs to turn a little bit, Inmarsat loses contact in that case because the antenna actually needs to steer to see the satellites.
Mm.
It's in the tail, and if we also have a little study screen for that where you can see as you're flying, you're going to be able to see the antenna steering around. It's in study RSS, in Marsat or something like that. RSS at the
Yep.
Inmarsat
Emersat
SATCOM.
SATCOM status.
Yeah, and so that is the antenna that's sitting in the top of the tail. And currently, the satellites that you see, you're on I4F3. Which is located at 174.8 degrees west. No, I'm sorry. It's located at 97.7 degrees west latitude and 0 longitude because it's on the equator, and it's at like 20,000 feet, 20,000 miles above the Earth's surface, and that is what you're locked onto right now. Since the satellites are geostationary, they don't really, they don't change position above the Earth. They always kind of hang over the same spot. But since you're moving and since you're flying around, the satellite antenna has to steer to follow the satellite.
That is some serious detail right there. Jeez, wow. Okay, well, you answered my questions. You've troubleshot my everything here. I'm
Cool.
gonna.
Yeah, I gotta hop off here because support's usually I'm 5 minutes away from support, so everything's exploding. So.
You should live stream support one day. Just blur out the names. Just here I am typing out.
It's really not that bad, and we've got a great community up in Discord where people will actually help each other. The initial couple of days were brutal because the knowledge hadn't yet pervaded through the community, but once enough people have asked the same question in Discord over and over again, the people that frequent the Discord will sort of start picking up on the common themes. So we don't usually at that point we don't have to handle like the most banal questions of like my ATS says fail, what do I do, or I don't know, how do I start the engine, that kind of stuff. We've got that mostly covered at this point. We're sort of more into the refined stuff.
Thanks for jumping on here. I really appreciate it, and
my pleasure.
We'll hope to talk to you again in 2022.
Sure. Have fun.
Congrats. See ya.
Thanks, Toto.
Thanks. Bye.
It to me, it's never. So CES Airlines asks, when will the plane take off? The point of a Challenger stream not necessarily is to fly. There's so much here to learn, and of course we could say, oh no, the developer of this aircraft, we need to fly. We don't want to talk to you. No, I could talk to Toto for hours. I've had the pleasure of meeting Totoritko in person in Vegas at the Flight Sim Expo.